All right, so we are recording now. Welcome to the class, How to Grow Your Brand and Make the Impact That You Desire. I'm so glad that you're here today because it is very much time for all of us to step into our purpose. And by you being here, you're helping me step into my purpose. And actually, I read one of the comments earlier, just before logging on, about one of you wanted to gain confidence that you don't have to be perfect to just start and be good in your business. So let me tell you all about perfection because I put whatever I'm doing today, the slides together, just a few slides together in maybe less than an hour. It is far, far from perfect. So you can see by the end of the class how much value you got from it and see if perfection matters or not. Because a lot of us get really caught up in the idea of perfection and it ends up allowing us, or it ends up allowing us or leaving us in paralysis. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So perfectionism doesn't allow us to actually do what we're trying to do. So we want to nip perfectionism in the butt because it's stopping us from living our purpose, which the angels do not like. um, and it's interesting because what the unique thing about my what I like to teach, it's not just marketing, but I like to couple it with the fears of like being seen, being out there. Like right now, my face is like all up in your screens, and I know it can be uncomfortable for a lot of people to do something like this because they're like, oh, like I don't like someone staring at me like that, especially maybe people who I don't know, you know. So talking about overcoming visibilities, talking about mental blocks, money blocks, success blocks, all of that type of stuff that actually prevents us from being successful. So it's not just about the marketing. The marketing is there. The marketing will work, but it won't work if you have blockages, energetic blockages, mental blockages that are stopping you from either doing the marketing or even getting the results you want because your energy is not aligned. And what happens is when your energy is not aligned to the work you're doing, you're not going to get results. So you're going to see a combination with me of the marketing tactics, but also talking through and working through the fears that we have of being out there, being seen, getting bad reviews, all of that stuff that really, really scares us, that's stopping us from moving forward. And I'm going to be very, very transparent with you guys because that's how it's going to help both of us grow. Okay. So let me tell you how much I didn't want to do this class today. I've been thinking about teaching classes for definitely over a year, maybe even longer. And I don't do it because I just think I'm never ready. I feel like I need to take another course. I need to build a bigger following before I start doing these classes. So many things. I need to lose weight. I need to change my hair. I need to do X, Y, Z. So many things that are stopping me from living my purpose. And today, because I want to talk about the resistance and how we can deal with it, how I deal with it. So that way, when you come across these things yourself, you'll be like, oh, I remember Aditi spoke about this. So today, I had the strongest headache ever. I had lots of plans of things that I need to get done today. And none of them happened because I was in such a paralysis about this freaking class I was teaching tonight. And I'm like, all these like mental scripts started coming up in my head. I don't even know what I'm talking about. What am I going to tell these people? Like, I can't help them. They should hire somebody and not come to this free class that I'm offering. What do I have to offer them? And I have for a long time been a credential chaser. I couldn't even tell you the list of credentials I have to teach you because I have way more than enough. But to me, it'll never be enough. I will never think that I have enough knowledge, credentials, experience to share with you. But the truth is, I actually do have a lot. But our earth mind, our ego mind, likes to tell us otherwise. Um, Things that will come up are like, you're not good enough. You need to have more experience. You need to have a couple more clients before you can feel like you're legit. Or you need to make a certain amount of money before you're legit. Compare yourself to competitors, all of that kind of stuff. And it's interesting, Nadia's played quite a huge and a sweet role for me for just this class even. Yesterday, when Nadia and I were speaking, I helped her with like one little small itty bitty thing. That's what it was to me, at least. And she was like, Aditi, you're so gifted. I'm so glad you're doing this. I'm so glad you're living in your purpose. And I was like, what? I was like, really? Like, was it that helpful? But I guess it was. But it's interesting to see how hard it is for us to see our own gift. So I want to help all of you to, change those scripts in your head, because that is what's going to help us be successful. That is what's going to help us grow our brand and reach the people that we want to reach, help the people that we want to reach. Because at the end of the day, I know that what you really want to do is help people. That's what your product or service is going to do. Your message is going to change people's lives. Your product is going to change people's lives. And that's why it's so urgent for us to get you out there, because there are people who don't even know you exist right now, but they need you so bad. But they won't get you until you step into your purpose. So just imagine all of the people who may be suffering in their lives, feeling like they're alone, or not having the product or service that they really need because they don't know that exists. They don't know it's available. And until you don't step into your purpose, you won't be able to save these people's lives. So know that people's lives are waiting for you and for your light to open up. Okay? How does that feel for you guys?
True.
Is it bringing up some stuff? Is it feeling like,
Today I went to an interpreting assignment, and I was with a lady that has a son that has a lot of issues that I would venture to say at least 75%, if not more, are food related. And she's from Mexico, and I was talking to her in Spanish and telling her just basic things that I knew that to me are basic. And I was just going on and on and on. And I finally told her, I said, I don't have titles, because I've had people tell me, well, what are your credentials? Well, you don't have.
Right.
Well, you know what? As much as I read, I know a freaking lot.
Right.
And right before I left, she said, I'm going to take into consideration what you told me. Her mother is going through menopause and has major depression, emotional issues. And I told her, get her off wheat. And this is something that I live by. And she was like, wow, my mother does whole wheat every meal. She thinks whole wheat is perfect, and she does it every meal. And I'm thinking, I really do know a lot. I just don't value my own knowledge. And that's what's kept me stuck. And I've been launching my business for the past 2 or 3 years, and it just stinks that I haven't done anything. But recently I have had one lady say, well, you don't have any credentials. What are your credentials? What difference does it make? Doctors have credentials. But I asked her, I said, her son also has massive rashes. He just gets these rashes, and he's ADHD. And I told her he needs to get off corn. He needs to get off wheat. And I said, well, you know what? Take him off it for 10 days. See how he feels. See if you notice a difference. You be the judge. Don't take my word for it. And I'm thinking, that's really powerful. And here people are telling me, well, you don't have a degree. I had one lady tell me, you don't have a degree. People want a degree. Well, you know what? A degree doesn't mean everything. The doctors that have been seeing this child, along with another baby that they gave soy milk to, and she's premature, and even on the label it says you're not supposed to do that. And the mom had the astuteness to look this up on her own. Just saying, wow, that's something I didn't know that. So I even pointed her to a website. I could get in trouble for doing that, but I just feel so led to help these people, especially a lot of Hispanic people, because unfortunately a lot of Hispanics are very undereducated when it comes to what's good and what's not good. But even doctors don't know, and these are doctors, and you would think that doctors know more. So the lady that with the baby that was given the soy formula told me that she wanted to see another doctor, and she was upset because she said, I had to do the digging. I had to find the information. And and she said she confronted the doctor, and the doctor said, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know.
So I'm gonna stop you right there, and I'm gonna tell you something. Okay. Yeah. When people are questioning your authority and your credentials, it's often because your energy is reflecting that. Exactly. I don't know if you already are aware of that, but just know that. Notice when people are asking these questions, because where do you believe that, right? Because people can read our energy, and for some reason they reflect it back to us. So instead of getting upset when this happens, Notice it. Be like, oh, interesting. I must be doubting myself that this came up from somewhere.
I
Okay.
do that a lot.
And then another thing is, you know what your credential is? Your credential is your story. Your story is absolutely your credential. And you can use your story as your, like, for telling people about why you are credible and why you know what you know, because you've done it. It's worked for you. You've suggested it to other people. It's worked for them. And that would be your credential.
Mhm.
So you no longer not have a credential. We're gonna nip that belief out. That's not true. Okay?
Okay.
And Nadia, how what was coming up for you?
Something that was coming up for me was I'm starting with a blog, and I'm really happy and excited about it. But one of the things that I always kind of get nervous about is that when people say, "Oh, what are you doing?" and I'm saying, "Oh, I'm trying to start my own business. I'm starting off with a blog," and they're like, "Oh, everyone has a blog." And someone told me that like months ago, and it still sticks with me. And I feel very sometimes insecure about saying I have a blog because I feel like I get grouped into this group of people that is like irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reason why I've seen it change and I've seen it revert back, when I feel very confident, I've seen people accept it with like open arms and they're
Yes.
very excited. And then when I'm nervous to tell people, like in a group setting or at an intimate dinner or something, I can feel what I'm putting out is exactly what I get back.
Yes, exactly. And you know, sometimes I get a little uncomfortable with the word blog as well because sometimes it doesn't seem as business-like, and we're trying to build a brand and a business here, right? So
Right.
sometimes what I do is I call myself a writer, and I say I write articles. So if you feel
Yeah.
more comfortable with that versus saying blogs, maybe that I know that helped me. So if that helps you too, that's something you can use.
Yeah. That's
You
a
know,
good
for
idea.
some reason, people use the word writer more credible than
Yes.
blogger.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
so that's what I label
Yes.
myself as, and so that's what you can use as well. Okay, so the time limit I have on this Zoom is limited, so I'm going to jump right in because it'll cut me off, I believe, at 30 minutes. So let's start with the next part of it. But I definitely wanted to talk to you guys about that first. So now you're going to see some slides. If I can just see how to present. Okay, great. So can you guys see the slides?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you see my video here too?
No.
On the right? No? Okay, so maybe
No.
it's visible to me. Okay. All right, so how to grow your brand. So as I just said, it's time to step into your purpose because people are waiting for your healing, your message, and whatever you have to offer them. So what is a brand? What do you guys know what is a brand? I want to hear from you guys. Just throw words at me. One words.
Kleenex, Xerox.
How about description of a brand? What a brand is?
It's a definition of what it is you do.
Okay.
Oh, I'm thinking of products like Kleenex,
Yeah.
Xerox. Yes, it's what you're known for.
Yep.
Yep.
A personality, a brand is a personality. It's a voice.
Yes.
It can be a symbol. It can be a message. It can be so many different things, but essentially it's an identity. So what you guys have is a brand, and we're going to be building it further. But the first thing you need to do, so this is actually interesting. I really like this quote from it's funny that you said Xerox. Were you reading my mind?
Must have.
Yeah. She says, no one knew who I was until I told them. And I was like, that is so powerful because, of course, No one's going to know who either of you or anyone who's watching this replay are until you show them, until you tell them, until you allow yourself to be comfortable enough to talk about it. Because a lot of us angel entrepreneurs are sensitive. Maybe we're a little more introverted. Maybe we have doubts about ourselves, all of that type of stuff. So I want to help push all of us to become comfortable with the idea of being visible and talking about our brands, because that is how you're going to grow your brand. So the general process is that first you need to get clear on your brand. Some people go straight into the what. They go straight into what they're creating, what they're doing. For example, for Nadia, for you, you may go straight into the blogging part of it without getting clear on what your brand is, what you're about, who your ideal reader is, because everyone is not going to be your ideal reader. You don't want everybody in the world to be reading it. You want a specific niche of people who are into your stuff, because they're going to be the most engaged, the most into your stuff, okay? And then after you're clear on your brand is how you can start creating the brand awareness. Now you know what words to use, you know what place you're coming from, you just have a lot more clarity on who you're targeting. And then that's how you move towards building a profitable business. Now, Nadia, I'm not sure if you have already thought about how to monetize it yet, or right now you're just focusing on launching the writing part of it.
Yeah, I've thought about the profit a little bit. I've mainly figured out, like, I think first with advertising that would help, and then talking, like doing speaking arrangements.
Okay, perfect. Good. So you've already started thinking about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first part of how to grow your brand and make the impact you desire is getting clear. So this is getting clear on your brand and on your ideal audience. So again, like I said earlier, you know, understanding, I forget if I wrote it here. Yes, so getting clear. What is your why? Why are you doing what you're doing? What is it about? So what I would suggest you guys to do is watch this video by Simon Sinek, What is Your Why? Nadia, I think you may have you already watched that?
No.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so good. And Auralia, have you ever heard of it?
No. It's not the black gentleman that starts singing, is it? That's not
No. The one that I had posted. No. No, but it's similar to what he says, but he goes into it deeper. His name is Simon Sinek, and it's a TED Talk, and it says, what is your why, I think? Something about the why. That will help you guys with getting clear on what your personal whys are. So I would suggest you do that this week.
Okay.
And then starting from there, because when you start from your why, everything else becomes clear. It's like you're starting from a foundation, and from there you're going outwards into the world. And then you understand, like, what is your mission? What is your brand's personality? Who is your ideal reader and client? Because like I said, if you're marketing to everybody, you're marketing to nobody, okay? Let me say that again. If you market to everybody, you're marketing to nobody. Because when you market to everybody, your message ends up becoming kind of vague because you're trying to fit everybody into that bubble. And then no one resonates with it because it's just too vague of a message. Okay? And you want to learn about your ideal client or reader. Where does your ideal client hang out? Do you want to have local clients? Do you want to have virtual clients? So really, really, really getting clear about your brand, who you are, what you offer, what your why is. Because this is what's going to help you make your brand even more powerful. Because I've seen a lot of personal brands online and different businesses who are kind of all over the place, and they're just like throwing out random messages that aren't really targeted to a specific person. And then that's where it gets kind of foggy and it doesn't really reach the people it's meant to be. I know some people in the marketing group took my class called Amplify Your Brand. I taught this course earlier this year, and that's where we really got nitty gritty in all of these things. And everyone went back, did the exercises, and then we came back together and refined it up. So I know that they all found it super, super helpful. So this is definitely the first step to start with. Okay. And then the next thing is to offer value. So you want to create value for your audience before they even decide to work with you or hire you. So for you, Nadia, one of your ways you're offering value is going to be through your writing. You're going to be offering stories, you're going to be offering lessons, all of that kind of stuff. Same thing with me. I do a lot of writing, and like, for example, this Facebook group is a way for me to how I'm offering value. Teaching these free classes is how I'm offering value, you know? That gives an example. So you want to create a strategy on how you can offer value to people who are in your ideal client. So creating an opt-in, teaching classes, creating maybe like a free ebook. So like, Oralia, for you, like if you were to create like a free guide to like, you know, basic sensitivity or, you know, common sensitivities, food sensitivities that people have and what their effects are, or something like a guide that would be super helpful for people who are not familiar with this type of stuff. We're offering like a free mini session. Like right now to my email list, I'm offering a free mini Amplify session, one-on-one to work with me. And I like opened up 4 spots for next week. So that's an example of, again, offering value, because how you're going to build your brand, this is how people are going to get to know you, get to know what you have to offer, get to know if they'd like to work with you in another type of capacity or maybe buy your book, etc. All of that. And to go deeper in what an opt-in is, the first one says create an opt-in. So an opt-in is basically creating something that will allow people to give you their email address. So it's almost like an exchange. The biggest thing in marketing is creating an email list with all of your ideal clients. So you want to create an email list that you can regularly email, maybe once a week or bi-weekly, and teach them something, write about something, etc. But in order for them to give you their email address, you want to give them something. So it could be that free ebook, that free guide, or something. It could be like, I think my last opt-in, I had, what did I have? I had a free Amplify Your Daily Life training. So I was like, okay, put your email in and you get access to this free training. So things like that. So of course, last but not least is becoming visible. So taking all of that stuff and really putting it out there. You want to grab the attention of the people who you want to serve. So there's so many ways to become visible, of course, but the first way is starting to build an audience. You can do that through, of course, collecting the email addresses. And remember, you don't want to just add people's email addresses without permission, because that's technically illegal. You want to make sure you have their permission. And you can use social media. You can use social ads like Facebook ads, Twitter ads, Google ads. You can use, let's say if you have an in-person event yourself, or if you would attend an in-person event of something else, and you can always like collect email addresses or get followers from that. If you have one-on-one conversations with people, you can co-teach a class with somebody and have them send it to their email and their social media, and you send it to yours. So Oralia, if you had people who do similar work to you, or who maybe do complementary work to you, and you want to co-teach a class in your area, that would be a wonderful way to build an audience. And then as you're building it, you want to make sure you communicate with your audience, because what happens, there's so many times where people will have, okay, they'll do all this work to get some social media followers, they'll get these email lists, and then it's like crickets. They don't communicate with their audience. So guess what happens? Out of sight, out of mind. People will forget you, they will forget your brand and forget what you're about. And you don't want that to happen. So once you start building an audience, you want to commit to yourself that you're going to communicate with them regularly. I originally started with a blog called ilivewithjoy.com 3 years ago, and now it has evolved so much. It evolved into doing like angel card readings, and now I'm adding the marketing component to it as well. So it's transformed over the years, but there's one thing I've always been very consistent in talking to that group, even though my group, now my ideal audience is changing, but it doesn't matter. For the last 3 years, every single month, I've communicated with them over email. So I've sent an email out to my email list. I like to call them love letters. to them every single month. So I've never allowed myself to miss 1 month. I originally wanted to do weekly, but it became a bit of an ambitious goal sometimes when, things happen. But now I try to do either bi-weekly, at worst case scenario, once that month. I have not missed 1 month in these past 3 years. So that is probably my biggest advice to you. Once you start building an audience, you have to commit to them. You can't drop off the face of the earth, otherwise they're going to forget who you are. Your brand is just going to diminish from there. So how can you communicate with them? Communicate with them through social media, through emailing them, through blogging, or writing articles, Nadia. Webinars. So like webinars would be something kind of like this, like teaching a free class and you have slides, or you just talk with your face, whatever you need to do, or having live events as well. So if you want to make a big impact, you're going to have bold and targeted strategies. And that's what I'm going to be helping you with these free classes. I'm going to be teaching a free class every week up until the last week of October. Because in November, what I'm doing is I'm launching a class called Get Seen, Get Paid. And that's going to be a paid course where I'm going to go much deeper into all these concepts. And we're actually going to do the exercises together. And you'll get a lot deeper support with me, and we'll have more time together. I'm trying to keep these free classes sweet and short so you can get a lot of value in a little bit of time without having to commit a whole hour. Sometimes I attend other people's webinars, and even a whole hour, it takes a lot for me to be paying attention for an entire hour. So to give you an idea of what I'm thinking for the next couple of weeks, and of course this could change, and there's other things that come up that you guys think will be more valuable. I'm very happy to tweak this. But I realized that I think building your audience is really the next step. After getting clear on your brand, I think what you guys can do is potentially go through watching that video to help you become clear on your brand on your own in this next week. And I'll see if I can give you guys some other resources to help you with that. But then the next part would be to build your audience. And I can help teach more about email marketing and opt-ins next week. And then so each week, I'll build on it a little bit more. And then the following I can teach you guys how to do Facebook ads. It's actually much easier than you may think, because I have found that people think it's much more complicated, but if you want to reach people that you don't know, Nadia, you want to have virtual readers who are all over the world, Facebook ads is the way to go. Okay. And then Periscope is a brand new app created by Twitter. It is blowing up right now, and I really want you guys to get up on that, because especially you, Nadia, knowing you as a person for the past couple of years, your personality can potentially blow up on there, and people have already been monetizing it, building a huge following on there. So I want to teach you guys how to use that, because it's the new thing, and I believe that if you have a personality, you need to be on there, because it's kind of live streaming, straight up your face and talking to people. But people have been able to get hundreds and maybe even thousands of email subscribers to their list. So it's really amazing. So yeah, throughout October, I will be focusing on that. And then of course we'll change classes and see what else is necessary and what you guys need from there. But yeah, do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, I do.
Go for it.
One of the things I'm having an issue with is figuring out who my ideal audience is.
Okay, so you're having trouble with that.
Yeah, I'm having some trouble with that.
Would it be Would it be helpful for me to teach a class on that?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe next week we'll start there instead, because that's actually the first step before jumping ahead to building your audience. How about you, Aurelia? Are you clear on your ideal audience?
I thought I was. What I get a lot, and this is, of course, this all goes back to me, is that my class, not that my classes are overpriced, but that I'm expensive. Yet, when I was thinking about it today, I'm not expensive at all. I'm doing everything for you. So if you come to me and you tell me you have diabetes or eczema, I can, or gout, like this happened, I can come up with recipes that won't interfere with your gout. They won't aggravate it. They will actually help it to heal. Not me, but the food that you eat.
Okay.
That takes research on my part, and then putting together a menu, and then do you like it, and then going back. So no, I would like to charge around $75 an hour, if not more, and that's kind of what I charge.
Okay.
Right now, I don't have any takers.
Great.
I don't know who my audience is other than people that have the money, but I want to share something that's unbelievable, and I'll be quick. I have come up to maybe 3 clients that have said yes, 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 and then at the very end they back out. Probably more. So that tells me that I somewhere am blocking myself.
Yes.
I mean, I've had people, I'm on my way to meet with them and they tell me don't come anymore.
Yeah.
It's happened several
Oh, okay.
Okay. So perfect. You guys, this is great. So now you're helping me see what is needed. So we will do that next week. Okay. We'll do a class on getting clear on your target audience. And potentially, I'll see how I want to structure it, if I want to give you guys some work to do before we meet, or because I'm actually going out of town this weekend. So I'm going to be like no laptop or anything. I'm like doing this camp out thing. So I will let you guys know about it next week, but that'll be the topic for next week. So that sounds good. So we have a minute left. So if I can ask you guys for a favor, I would love for you guys to post in our Facebook group what you learned from this class and how this class helped you and anything else you'd like to add. I would love if you could do that right after the class ends.
Okay.
And I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the group.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.